In this video, we're going to look at preparing for texture painting and also getting some textures and looking at how these textures work together. Now, this website is really good. It's called textures.com. You can sign up for a free account. You will get 15 free credits a day. I've already downloaded 3 things here. And if I click on one of these, for example, it will let me download either the small version here. In this case, it costs me 1 credit. I can get the medium version of this one for 2 credits. A lot of them are seamless, which means that you can map them onto an object and have it kind of loop through and so on. Now, I'm just looking for a kind of a stainless steel texture here, and that one actually looks pretty good. I might grab that. It's not really stainless steel, that's kind of a bare metal, but I'm just going to grab this one and go with the smaller one for now, although it's not a big deal. Now, if these come across as TIF files, this one didn't, you're going to want to edit it in Microsoft Paint and resave it as a JPG, just because the TIF files are going to be really big. One other thing you'll probably want to do later is rename these files, but for now we're just looking at how it works, so don't worry too much about that. That's a good stainless steel one. Don't overthink this. Don't try to make it really complex. Just get one that we're going to use as the material for our weapon. This one here also looks pretty good. So I might grab this one as well. And we'll get these in a second. I'll just download that. Probably could download the bigger one, it's not a big deal. I'll go back to Blender. Now, I've got these textures and we'll look at those in a minute. But what I want to do first is to set this up for texture painting. Okay, now I'm going to do a separate image for each texture, which is not the best way to do it. It's not the most efficient, but for learning, it's going to be the easiest way that we can look at this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into texture paint mode at the top here, and you'll see that I've got this selected. The blade is purple because I haven't got anything ready to go. And then over here, I've got no texture ready, and I don't have any proper UV map. So let's go ahead and create a new texture, and I'm going to give it a name. This is going to be called Sword Blade. It's going to be 1024 by 1024 is fine for this. The color is going to be black, and I'm going to click OK. I'll zoom out a little bit. Now I'll go into over here and go into edit mode, select everything, hit U, and unwrap. Now it looks like this, which is not great. In fact, what I want to do is I want to change this. I'm going to actually do a smart UV project for this, and I'm going to turn the island margin up and the area weight up just a little bit. Actually, that looks awful. Smart UV project. Okay, there is an issue here, and I'm just going to go back and see if I can fix it. And I will just try those UV unwraps again. Now what's happening here is it's stretching out my UVs because it's trying to fit everything. Oh, here we go. I want to untick this button. There we go. Okay. Now this means, and this is what I mean when I say this is not the best way to do it, what I'm going to have is a whole lot of empty, unused space in here. And it could be more efficient, but for learning, this is going to be fine. So now what happens if I go to, and you see it's gone into edit mode here, I hit tab, I'm going to go back to texture paint over here. It still doesn't show up, okay? It should be kind of black, but it doesn't. And what I need to do is go down to here, material. I'm going to add a new material to this. This is going to be sword blade. It's going to be my material. Notice it's the same as the image. It doesn't really matter in this case, but I am going to put matte underscore sword blade. The reason for that will become apparent in the future. So making sure that you're naming these materials is actually really important. Then I'm going to change the base color here to be an image texture, and I'm going to select the sword blade texture. Done. Now what will happen is I can hit N over here, and I can hit tool, and I get these tools down here. So say if I pick blue, for example, I can paint on this with blue and it shows up over there. I can do it to both sides. It shows up over there. Now we don't actually want to paint with that, we want to paint with a texture. So what I'm going to do is click on texture properties and add in a new texture. This is going to be an image or movie, which was what it already was. I'm going to click open and I'll find my downloads folder. It should be documents. Oh, no, it won't be. Downloads, there it is. And, oh, so many folders. Where is it? It was called textures.com metal bear. I'll pick one of those. All right. So I've got that texture, which I should be able to almost paint with. I'm going to select texture here and I'll select that texture. And now I can paint with that texture. Now it doesn't look quite right because this texture is not seamless. So I would probably need to turn the size of this up or scale my brush, which is F to scale the brush, and paint that on there. However, that didn't work. Oh, we'll turn it up to white. Paint that on there. Okay, that's not quite what I want. If I zoom in though, I get this horrible seam along here. So I really do want to find a seamless texture. So I'll go back to cgtextures.com and I'm going to look for metal bear. And I want to find something that is seamless. So it has the little icon on it, seamless. But I've got to find one that's not too hideous. Because some of them are not going to really look like sword blades if I do that. That one, seamless. So I'll click this one. I will download the free version of it. That's the seamless one. I'll go back to here, go back to textures, and I will change that and click a new one. And we'll go open and I'll find downloads. And that one was seamless. There we go. Now if I hit F, resize my brush and paint this texture, that's good, except I want to turn the angle to be like 90 degrees so that it's kind of going up and down. Now it's not looking fantastic. It's not the best texture I could probably pick, but I will paint the other side as well. And it does depend, like the distance that you are from it does make a difference. By the way, I can also paint this like tinted as well. Let me go back to there. Now I actually want to paint this part of the blade slightly different color to the rest of it. So I can click this button at the top here, paint mask, and then I'm going to click this to select. I'm going to select these two areas and these two areas. And then I'm going to go back to my paintbrush. The texture is still there, but I'm actually going to give it a slightly darker tint to it, like that. And same on the other side. In fact, I want to do the opposite of what I've just done, which is paint this area the darker color. So I'll paint this one the lighter color, back. And I will select this area and this area, this area and this area, and the back as well, which hasn't been painted fully yet. I'm going to leave that like that. And with those selected, I'll go back to the paintbrush and make this darker, not by much, just like that. Put that on there. Do that. Paint down the back here as well. It may not look like it's painting sometimes, and that is because of the lighting that will be on it. So we'll just put it into solid mode and it should be full bright. So now I've got that texture going down there. I've got it going on here. If I turn it off, you can see there's slightly different colors there. So I'm going to come into this part here now, and I'm going to hit L. Oh no, that's a different object, so that's all good. So we've done that blade. So I'm going to repeat that process again. I'm going to go back to layout, and I'm going to select this part here now, and I'm going to click on texture paint for that part. Once again, it's got nothing there, so I need to go to material, make a new material. I'm going to call it sword. It's not really the hilt, so I'm going to call it sword materia holder. If you're not sure what materia is, it's the little magic gems that get slotted into the weapons in Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to just leave that for now, because what I need to do is close this here and make a new one and call this sword material holder and click OK on that. The old one is still there, and then I'm going to click on here, change the image texture to be sword material holder, and there we go. Now we're good to go with that one. So it's texture painting. What I need to do though is go into edit mode for it. Once again, Smart UV project and click OK. Now it didn't seem to do it. Why not? Unwrap. It's not over here. Let's see. Well, it is there. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm not sure why it didn't show up a minute ago. I seem to have an issue. Let's try and, okay, it is working, so that's good. All right, this bit here, I'm going to zoom in on it, and I'm going to paint that texture. Now, I don't want to zoom in too far, and I'm also going to paint it slightly blue, like that, and like that. I don't mind what colors you use with this. You see the texture goes on there. It looks fine. I'm not sure what this bit is along here that seems to be connected to it. It might be the bevel on the outside of it. I'll just make sure I get around the outside, even though I won't see that too much. And going there. Now I'm going to switch back to the other object. I'm going to play around with some of these settings. Now you can start doing the rest of the color down here. This leather strap though I'm going to do in a separate video. So hold on for that one, because that'll be a little bit different how we do that. Same with these things here, I'll do that in another video, but you can texture paint this how you want. You can find an appropriate texture for it. You can do it with a single color. It's not a big deal how you do this, but what I want to do is I want to go back to the other object over here. So I actually want to select this one. We'll go back to layout. We're going to select this one and go to texture paint, and that's all good for us to go. And what I'm going to do down here is I'm actually going to get rid of this texture. Just going to close that texture bit there, and I'm going to come in here and make a really small brush. Shift F will make the brush softer or weaker. I'm going to make quite a weak brush that's quite small. Now I'm pretty certain there is a way to make a line on here. Here it is, a line. It's under stroke line, and it lets me draw a line like that. I don't want it to be blue though. I want to put it back in the center. I'm going to make it quite dark. I'm going to increase that brush size a little bit. I'm going to draw a line up from here to here on there. I'm going to do it again until it looks kind of right. That doesn't seem to be adding anything to it. Oh, it is probably not dark enough there. I might just make it a little bit darker. I did turn the weakness down on it quite a bit. And over here, have that there, and across the top, and going down there. I could also just, I'm not sure why that didn't work properly there, put it into front view 1, and draw that line up there, draw it across there, across there. Down there. That's just going to kind of add some fake ambient occlusion to it. It looks a bit munted there. But that looks pretty good. There is another way I could do this neater. So I could change this from line. Pretty sure I can change it to drag dot. No. I did it earlier. There is like this little tool where it lets you kind of do it really neatly. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I'm not sure what it is now. I thought it was drag dot. Maybe it's space. Maybe it's anchored. No, it's not. dots. Space. Oh, I don't know what I've done now. Oh, it is working, but it's making it really dark. Anyway, I just want to add some fake ambient occlusion around there. In the next video, we'll look at adding a texture to this down here.